A very warm welcome to everybody to aidbees. We are back with another podcast, and this time it's a wonderful occasion of the year. Personally, one of my favorite occasions when you've seen me since all these years taking these podcasts. It's Women's Day. And today we are discussing a very important topic with five very important women coming from various backgrounds of life, but joining in on the united cause of running and philanthropy. Today, we're discussing the role of women into fundraising, in running, and in sporting as an event. How has women access or women opportunities been increased or improved upon through these years? We have five wonderful women joining with us today. I'll start the introductions of each of them and I'll welcome each of them. We have Miss Usha Baliga joining from Bangalore. Welcome, Usha ji. Welcome to 8Bs.
Thank you.
So just a little bit about Usha ji. She's one of the top fundraisers of the TCS 10K 2025, our upcoming event where 8Bs is the philanthropy partner. Usha ji is an engineer with over 18 years of experience in the semiconductor industry, and she started fundraising in 2021. And currently, she is a business development manager at a startup and a founding member of the CSR team of the firm that she started with her family. And right now, if I may say this, if I'm allowed to sort of announce this, Shushaji is one of the top fundraisers, having raised over 15 lakhs at the TCSW 10K 2025. So we're really happy to have Usha on the floor. Next up, we have Miss Deborah Alex. Deborah is an engineer with a passion for badminton, and she's been working and raising funds for children's education. Welcome to 8Bs, Deborah.
Thanks for having me.
She has been connected with Reaching Hand, one of also the top fundraising NGOs of the event, TCSW 10K. And she's loves spending time with children. And if I'm right, this is her first time for raising funds for a cause. And she's soaring high, being one of the silver level fundraisers. Next up, we have Miss Anishri Nair from the running club Running Roadies. Welcome, Anishri. We're really glad to have you.
Same here, Ashutosh. Thank you for having
So Anishri is a professional from EY. She is also the part of this running club called Running Roadies. She's an advocate for women's inclusivity and access to sports. And she's been raising funds and will be raising funds at the TCSW 10K along with her running group, the Running Roadies. Running Roadies runs in Bangalore and, of course, is one of the most successful groups through these years. Welcome, Anishri. Next up, we have Miss Aarti Kakatkar from Procam International, the event promoter of the coveted TCSW 10K 2025, and many more races through the country. When we start talking about Aarti, she's an event management expert, and she's also the vice president of Procam. With over 8 years of experience in corporate and legal and a degree in events management, she has been the spearhead. She has been the spearheading frontier for philanthropy initiatives at Procam International, with runs like TCSW 10K, like Vedanta Delhi Half Marathon, the Tata Steel Kolkata Marathon, and the Tata Bombay Marathon. Aarti has been working on all these flagship events and taking forward the idea of philanthropy, accessibility, and inclusivity. We're very proud to have you, Aarti.
Thank you. Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have Ms. Prashanti Goswami joining us from the foundation Each One Educate One from Bangalore itself. She has been involved in impact social development, and she, having worked in corporates like IBM and America Online, she's also been a volunteer in countries like East Africa, India, Sri Lanka. Prashanti is also an avid tracker, and her passion for social causes is very much visible in Fair Square through the years of experience she brings and how she's using that in philanthropy. Prashanti, we're very happy to have you as well.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you, everybody. Namaste.
After that lovely round of introductions, I would like to move to questions first. And before starting, I think running in philanthropy has always been uh, a space where all of us come together for social causes. Except we do see sporting as an activity where gendered gap becomes very significant and specific. So, Ati, we'll start with you and let's start talking about the idea of this gendered gap in sporting. Where do you think it's headed, and do you see this in a positive light in the coming future?
Yeah, thanks, Ashutosh. Yes, there is. I cannot say there's complete parity when it comes to gender equality in sport. But surely we are heading there. Where slowly, steps are being taken in the right direction globally, not just us, right? Take for example how brands are supporting women athletes. They're accepting the fact that the women athletes are equal and they also need support and they are properly, their performance is at the highest levels and they need to be supported. Okay, that's one aspect. Take for example, even in the Indian context, it's so interesting to see the way, at least what I have seen, earlier I think even in our society, a lot of changes have happened, wherein the families, the parents of girl children are so accepting and willing to send their girls for in sport, and and that is mainly seen in rural areas also. Forget about urban areas. The fact that their girl child can take up sport and probably create a career for herself, that's also very interesting. Yes, there are far and few cases, but this is happening. We're seeing the encouraging notes and the tones of it. Um, what better, testimony is that I know that in in November 2025, India is going to be hosting the first Worlds along with the men, I would say, and we're talking about women over here. The first women's cricket tournament for the blind championships World Cup happening in November 2025 by an organization called Samartharam, which is very much a
Right.
based organization happening over here. So it is so encouraging that not only the men blind cricket, but also this. And yes, people are noticing it, and it's very encouraging. Even for us, right from the beginning, right from 2004, when we launched it out of Mumbai Marathon, for us, it is equal prize money, equal prize, I mean, equal opportunities for women to participate. And it's very interesting to see that almost 30 to 35%, taking an average across all our four events. Um, are women so participating. So this is good. We have always taken on the steps the positive light to encourage women to participate because we feel that when a woman takes up health as one of a healthy lifestyle, I think automatically the family follows suit also because it's again something which she leads through example. So yes, I wouldn't say we're all there, but the journey has started for sure.
I would like to pick that out in terms of leading by example. Deborah, Anishri, you are also dealing and facing, say, the younger side of the population. You're also dealing with women and men and the youth generally who are looking forward to, say, sporting, who are looking forward to sporting events. What would you like to add to what Aarti just said about leading with example?
It is definite that we are seeing a lot of women coming up, and they even, when I see that even in our group or wherever I'm currently working as well, we see that women are taking initiative. And like earlier, what we used to see in olden days, we don't see the men getting offended with that as well. So there's acceptance to it, and there is more parity to it. So we can see that equality coming in a way, but we still have a long way to go. But yes, we do see, a lot of changes in a positive direction.
Deborah, anything on that?
Yeah, I think, like ma'am was saying earlier, that there is a lot of acceptance to it now as compared to earlier. Even when we look at the Olympics, right? At one point of time, the representation of women were just around 2%, but now we're up to 47%. So that's a huge improvement. That reflects what's happening in the country as well. So that's my thought on it.
That's wonderful. Just turning a little just turning a little towards philanthropy in this discussion. Usha, Prashanti, both of you deal with philanthropic initiatives. You are actively involved in chasing the goal of making a difference. How do you see these philanthropic initiatives making a difference specifically for women? Anything that you have to add to that? Usha, will start with you. You're on mute, Usha. Yeah.
Basically, I'm supporting Bangalore Kidney Foundation, right? So in the rural areas, the women population, most of the women are hesitating to come to the treatment site and take dialysis because of the taboo, or maybe they think the male needs more healthcare. I mean, the male is a head of the family, and they need more attention than the female. And sometimes there's a taboo that um, mm, what if others in the group come to know about the issues that they are facing and all that. So I think it is important that the organizations come forward and address these kind of issues, identify um, those class of people, and then provide them a means where they can do this without any inhibitions and without any with dignity. So I'm raising funds for Bangalore BKF. So there I can say that we have a specific ward, particularly for women, for girls. So they are trying to address this by creating this specific ward for ladies only, so that any needy woman can walk in anytime and get the treatment done. So, yeah.
So that's wonderful, because I think there is a very big need, as you said, that always men's issues are considered as, okay, these are the issues that need to be dealt with. But I'm glad that NGOs like BKF and NGOs like Each One Educate One as well, Shanti is here with us, are focusing on issues directly connected to women. And I think that's what we are moving forward in philanthropic initiatives as. Prashanti, being a part of an organization that prepares future doctors, especially future women doctors, as what you're raising funds for this year as well. How do you feel this is taking direction? Like, what direction is it taking according to you?
I think, see, for the first point, the women coming into sports, I think recently we saw, right, Puma had changed their entire advertising. Instead of PU, they had put PV, which was celebrating PV Sandhu. I think that was fantastic, in terms of recognizing women in sports. So that was one. But the second one is less, yes, rightly said, Each One Educate One. I think we're very proud. One is we are an alumni-led initiative. We got free education. So we did our bit in the corporate world, learned our skills and abilities. And then we decided, okay, why not form a foundation that, gives it back to the society that helped us get that education. So today, through the Each One Educate One Foundation, I think some of the things I'd like to highlight is, yes, we have the world's first free medical college, and you'll be very happy to know that almost out of the 350 students, 200 of them are just nursing girl students. And out of the 100 doctors that we've taken, we have about 45 or 47 of them, which are all girls. And these are all first generation learners in their family, which means they've actually gone through the entire schooling, high school, middle, and now studying to become doctors. So great sense of pride and joy. And when you come here and meet these girls, they're so bright, and they're so intelligent. And if we weren't there, honestly, they wouldn't have had a chance. It's not that we can take everybody. We would love to envelop the whole world, but we can't, because our most of our girls, their parents, you'll be surprised, are actually daily wage workers. For example, Damini, both her parents are daily wage workers. Today she's going to become Dr. Damini. So great sense of pride, also great sense of gratitude through the foundation that we're able to do these kind of things. Another thing I'd like to highlight that is in our university level, we are more girls than boys, right? So that is again a sense of great pride that we're trying to show the world that, you give the right opportunities, the right kind of education. I'm telling you, the feminine, the sacred feminine Shakti, nobody can stop it. Just needs nurturing, needs a compassionate, I would say sometimes a compassionate man to be able to think through, things like that to make it happen. So for me, I'm grateful to my Guru, Sadhguru Madhusudan Sai, for thinking of this kind of an approach. And yes, we all try to do what we can in our own way. So very happy that you invited me and very happy that I could share these thoughts.
Those facts actually and those numbers, especially with the fact that there are more girl students than boy students, it takes me by joy to see, because especially the areas that you're working in are all rural areas, right? Are areas of
Yes.
remote reachability or remote locality, and to see that joy of joining and to see that pride of having more female participation there really takes me by an awe. And I think something similar is also happening on what Deborah is raising funds for on the front of children's education, on the front of education for children who are marginalized and on the remote areas. Deborah, what would you like to notice, or what would you have noticed so far in terms of female participation through Reaching Hand, and how many girl students they're affecting?
Yeah, so the Reaching Hand has a home that supports around 49 to 50 girls from marginalized communities, providing them with education and things like that. And I think the reason why it is so important is because when we touch the women of a society, we're not only touching them, but we're touching the whole community for generations to come. It's going to affect their children and children, children, and so forth, right? It has a multiplying effect. Like, so I think that and also the Reaching Hand also has many skill development programs for women. All of this empowers them, gives them an ability to stand for themselves and provide economically for their family, enabling the children of those family to, get into education and things like that. And also when you start educating women, it's more likely that their daughters also will be educated, and that creates a long cycle. Every mother would want their daughter educated, and that goes on. So I think like that Reaching Hand is doing a great job by educating so many girls and thereby impacting generations to come, really.
That's so true and inspirational, because that cycle of education, as even Prashanti was mentioning about it, Aarti has also pointed it out, that cycle of education, that cycle of building future ahead, keeps going on through these wonderful women, because they see value in the kind of education that you're doing. They see value in the kind of initiatives that are being done with them. Uh, about these initiatives as well, and about this idea of running and what running does and how running and philanthropy go hand in hand, specifically for women issues. Anishri, I'd like to come to you on this. You're a part of a running group which also has a lot of women in it. There is also initiatives that are going on in terms of social intervention or social welfare. How do you think sporting communities like a running group per se, it becomes like an inclusive space for women? How do you think running groups promote inclusivity for women?
So running itself, Ashutosh, when we see, brings people together. And if we see the trend that's going on right now, people are more becoming health conscious, which is also promoting them to bring their family into the running trend. And we see that they have started feeling safe within the running group. So they know that they are safe enough. They know that what is happening. They can bring their daughters, they can bring their wife, kids. So when I say about running roadies, we have more than 200 plus women as part of our members. We have not counted the kids yet, but still we do have 200 plus women, which is almost half the population we are about to reach. And it's so good to see how each other support, and it's a community they are building. They are supporting each other's mental well-being or any issues. We feel connected, as you clearly mentioned, that consciousness or which we have, which was stopping women speaking to each other. They always feel it is a supporting community. And there are a lot of supporting men, and in running roadies we ensure that they feel safe enough. And we have done initiatives where the Hindu had covered running roadies for having a ultra run, where we had 9 women take part for the midnight slot. So that was one of the great things that we get to see. And I specifically feel that we can do a lot better, because today's scenario, when we don't see much women in the ultra categories. We see women taking steps, which is a really good thing for 5K, 10K, 21, 42. We are equally there. But for ultras, or for the major reason I feel is because of the timings and things which we are trying to change as and when we move ahead. And it is becoming a safer space. So
And
definitely.
also, if you could throw some light on how the trainings for these running groups go as well. Do men and women train equally? What is the kind of exposure to training that you're giving in these running groups specifically?
So over in running roadies, we keep a every Sunday session. There is no difference between a man or a woman. We communicate to them how we need to breathe because okay, well, when we look at in a physical way, women can be a little more difficult. We need to work a little more just to keep ourselves a little fit because we have to manage multiple things along with how men are doing. But here, what happens? We don't different create a differentiation between a men and women while training because we are all doing it same. It's a techniques that we are trying to share with everybody, and we have an upcoming stadium run where out of 17 groups, almost 14 groups have mixed men and women together, so which is, I think, absolutely a great thing to do.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
really wonderful. Among one of also the female runners and fundraisers is Usha ji and Deborah both. Usha, I would like to ask you, you've been one of the top fundraisers through these years, and with regards to training, with regards to running, with regards to also fundraising. But I want to know, what is it that you think about rallying more women to become fundraisers? How do you, say, motivate them?
Okay. So, by God's grace, I have been blessed to do this service in the society in this way by fundraising. Okay. So, and we all know that what woman is capable of. She is capable of multitasking, and whenever she faces any challenges, anytime, she's always ready to shoulder that responsibility without compromising on the other factors. So, a woman is also a caregiver, carer, and she's also a giver. So I'm sure she would also not hesitate to become a fundraiser, right? We all know that we are not doing this fundraising for ourselves, but for a greater cause. So it could be any cause for that matter. It could be feeding supporting a hunger, education, women's rights, women empowerment, environment, health related matters, and the list goes on. There are so many causes in our country and of course across the world. So basically, as an individual, I feel that we can't do much, but collectively we can come together and we can create such an powerful impact on the society, and which is such a gratifying experience. And fundraising is also, I mean, people think uh, it's it's not it's kind of a below dignity thing, going and asking for someone, going and asking for funds with somebody, but that is not so, because there's so much of learning, self growth, and it makes you feel so humble, and you have that gratitude, and in the process you grow, in the process of fundraising I'm telling this from personally from my experience over the period of time. Okay, so I mean, and we have this organizations such as Program and aidbees, which have created this platform for us where people can run and fundraise for their favorite cause. So my advice to the fundraisers is that be passionate, and be confident in what you're doing, and be you, because it matters, the cause matters, and cause it's you. So we
That's
can
very
all
true.
come together and join hands and make a difference to the society and impact the lives of those who are in real need.
That's very true. Aarti, I'll move this conversation from the fundraising side to the management side of it all. I want to ask you a similar question before more, that how do you rally women fundraisers to come to the ground? How do you rally women to become fundraisers in such events? You handle marathons and races across the country. What is your thought on it?
Frankly, when we ask people to fundraise, we don't look at men and women. I think that's where equality also comes into place. But I mean, I admire people like Usha and Alex, and I'm sure Anushri will also start through her run group to start fundraising. Um, it is not easy. Okay, and then let me just put it very clearly. Raising funds is not easy, but it's extremely satisfying. At the end of it, you'll get a million no's, but those few yeses and the yeas make your day. Okay, so and I always believe that experiences help you choose your cause, or it could be something which you've grown up with, or it's mainly experiences. And I always believe that if women take up women issues, I think who better to talk about them, right? Because it is an experience, you're living that life. And why not? And I honestly, I feel that, just digressing a little bit, if you allow me to, because probably that will help you understand what I'm trying to say. A little bit of what the other panelists have said also. I mean, Anushri said that women feel safe in sport. I think why is that? Because if you're talking about any cause, I don't think any cause can be pushed on anybody's throat. It has to be an experience. Okay, and though I admire and sometimes it's absolutely necessary for activism, and I'm not, denying that fact. But when you talk about inclusion, like women, it is equal rights. But how much? Yes, a lot has been achieved through activism. But now is the time and the era where we need to take a little bit about that. There has to be something parallel moving ahead. Because opportunities, we have to create opportunities where men and women can actually come together on an equal front and participate. So when we talk about sport, we just don't do events and program. It's very easy to, kind of not easy, but it is fairly easier to kind of do an event, right? Or take a running event and do it. But that's not what it is. We kind of want to use a power of the collective to drive social consciousness. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Okay. And why not fundraising? Why not get men and women both to participate? Just to give you an example that I'm sure Anushri and Usha all are aware of it. We have a concept called pacing. Okay, where suppose you want to finish your 10K in say 1 hour, 20 minutes. Okay, we will have a pacer, a person who's volunteering, sacrificing that his or her own time, personal best to actually lead the others. Okay,
Mm.
under 120. So you to just follow that person and uh, probably you will finish your race under 1 hour, 20 minutes. We started this in Bangalore a few years ago. In 10K across all our events, 10K places are only women.
I have noticed that, yes.
Yeah.
I have also noticed
And
that.
why are we doing this? Because it's really summarizes everything which all the panelists have said. It's the women who lead the way, literally. Like when you say, have you ever heard statement empower men? No, you say empower women. Because they're so much capable of influencing so many multiple lives, just not themselves.
True.
It's their families who get impacted, it's their community which gets impacted. You see these examples, right?
True.
So, yeah, I feel that when it comes to also coming back to your question, I wouldn't say we really do something extraordinary for women fundraisers, but we are more than happy there are more women fundraisers. Like in running, things are going up. In sport, I think more women taking up will probably lead by example, take whichever cause you wish to. Because as
And
everybody said, the women are multitaskers. I mean, if they can manage to work and take care of their house and their kids and everything else and still fundraise, I'm sure everybody can.
that's so true. Real-time example we have in front of us are these three lovely women
Absolutely.
who are fundraising and who are touching really good heights in terms of those funds. Prashanti, I would like to move this conversation now towards a little bit of the nonprofit sector. We've talked about running, we've talked about philanthropic initiatives as to how they work. But as someone from the nonprofit sector itself, how do you think there are some challenges for women as leaders, and how do you hope to tackle these issues in terms of philanthropy, in terms of women participation as well?
Okay, so work is challenging for anybody, whether it's a man or a woman, right? It's based on what you make of it. So, in my thing, we also know studies have shown us that the parity between men and women, forget an NGO in any workplace, is going to take about 100+ years. So, let's not waste our energy in trying to say, no, we women need equal opportunity, equal salary, and all. It's not going to happen. There may be few that will break the glass ceiling. But what can we do? Is that where we leave it at? See, there are some words that I love. One is the Greek word meraki, which says give something out of yourself, which is creativity, which is love, which just comes natural to us as women. Right? So those are areas that you could excel in far beyond any man that could do, because it's our natural nature. So I would say one, become, exude that warmth, and also build competence, right? So because if these two things are there, then whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. The leadership roles will come to you, exciting opportunities will come to you, and you can carry on. I'm not going to get into, oh, ye challenge hai, ye rona dhona karna hai, because it's out there. We've seen a number of studies, so I'm not going to dwell on that. But I also want, us women to remind ourselves that there's another favorite word that I like, which is called onism, which means you will see there's a very little of the world that you will actually learn in this one lifetime, right? So the more you learn, the better it is, because you have a limited span. So why not use that time in learning and evolving, in sharing your knowledge to others? Because when you share, then you learn more, and then you become an inspiration. So whether you're inspiring your small group of 10 people, or the 1,000 group, or a 10,000 global workforce that you're a leader of, it doesn't matter. Be genuine. People see through genuinity, right? Lot of falsism, pseudo facade, that personalities, the name persona means you're putting on an act. So don't do that. It doesn't gain anybody anything, and you are at the end the loser. So I would say, as women leaders, become competent in what you do, know about your product very well, whether you're working in a finance, or you're working in HR, or you're working in marketing or sales. Go deep into that subject and know everything that you can about it. That gives you a lot of respect from everybody. I'm not just saying men and women. And the third word that I always use is wabi sabi, which means everything is actually perfect. Right? Enjoy that imperfection that is there, because that is what drives change. That is what drives creativity. As a non-position holding person in Each One Educate One, I'm just a volunteer with the foundation. But in my role as public relations for the entire ashram, I get this unique opportunity to, work in various events. It could be a running, it could be a concert, it could be just a photo exhibition of the work that we do. But those are again ideas that come because, you're able to think that, hey, what opportunity am I getting? What am I learning? So I learn so much from our kids who study with us, and we are completely offer free education. So much they teach you, because they come from such background that they really have nothing, and today they're blossoming into doctors, PhD scholars, becoming academicians, teachers, and all. So I think for us women, by nature, we are able to look at that whole ecosystem with a sense of belongingness. But in my spiritual path, I've also learned with a sense of observation and a dispassionate involvement in the outcome, right? So do your best, give it your 100%. And there's always that thing about, human effort and God's grace. So we've always heard, take one step and the divine takes 100 steps towards you. In my own life, I feel that really works well. You just work with a pure intention. I think all the ladies on the panel have some an ambition which is so much beyond themselves. And that is why they are super performers, whether you're runners or roadies or Geeta who's raising funds. So that, for me, that's beautiful. So I have got over that fear of FOMO long ago, fear of missing out. It really doesn't matter in my scope of work and the people that I deal with. And I would encourage every woman to be in that kind of space. So that's all.
That's
Thanks.
That's wonderful. I think what struck out to me, what you said about leadership and also being in whatever profession you are, but give your best, be competent there. This reminds me of how, Deborah, you're connected with children's education, you're connected with Reaching Hand, but you're also an engineering, you're also an engineer by profession. So, and I'm guessing this is your first time fundraising, right? So, how do you see that space of bringing that competency to something like philanthropy, bringing that sort of passion for children's education or any cause that you care for, as the panel has agreed? How do you see women bringing up that cause, passion, and the initiative, being professionals that you are, being the wonderful women that you are? Where do you see it going?
I think it's through initiatives like this, right? That when we can truly empower the next generation of women. Like what I mean by that is, like, right now I'm able to support the NGO Reaching Hand, which supports 50 girls, and they help in educating them. And now when we talk about educating them, it helps them one day maybe to pursue their career goals, maybe engineering, banking, design, wherever they want to be. And ultimately, it increases their representation in these spaces. Like, and moreover, like, as they grow up, they will want to become leaders, role models, and even fundraisers like this. So in that way, we are continuing that cycle of empowerment, right? By investing in their futures, we're not just helping them pursue careers, but we're also creating opportunities for women to support and uplift each other. Like, that's what furthering that gender equality and representation across various sectors, like, you know.
That's actually true, because we've all agreed upon in this discussion that leading by example is something that can help us out. Also, these contributions from various professional backgrounds or bringing that competency together helps us all out. I personally have just bringing it a little digression from running and philanthropy, but even if I talk about my own mother, say she's hardly educated. She studied only till grade 7. Even 7 she couldn't complete because she got married. She was from a rural area, but she has handled a family of 5 all through her life, starting from a young age, and sort of built up that family enough that her children, her family, or her husband for that matter, are successful in their own fields, and interacting with the world in a more aware way. So I think, regardless of the field, regardless of what profession you're in, which professional line you're in, that competency that women bring on the table in terms of nurturing it, in terms of providing for further generations, and in terms of leading by example, as Aarti said, that is something very incredible. And I think we all agree on that. Before I move on to say the closing statements for this discussion, any of you has any unique stories about women that you have noticed in philanthropy or in running? Anything that might excite our audience? Anything in your fundraising journey that you might like to discuss? The floor is open to you all.
Ashutosh, I just wanted to add that for me, I've shared it also private in public forums, saying that the marathon itself is a very emotional moment for me personally, because you get up this early morning, you see so many people there gathering, and most of them, I don't say many of them, but many of them will be running for a cause, for a lofty cause to help somebody else. So whether it's a man running, whether it's a woman running, for me, that whole ocean of people that's running for somebody else is a cause of, I cry. I'm being very open about it. This is going to be my third marathon. Tears just flow when that 8:05 p.m. AM kicks off and everybody runs together. So for me, I don't go into what it's just the joy of being with people, running, creating awareness about how this is. Because as a young girl, I was very curious as to how are marathons raising money. Until I really signed up for the TCS aidbees, I had no clue what it was. I was thinking, why would so many people, how can they raise money by just running? Today, I've understood the depth and the width of what this one event can do, the capability it has. So it's very emotional. And of course, to see all those funny people who just get up and run. Some of them just have woken up, but the fact that they've just woken up and are still running for somebody else, or maybe even for themselves, is again very, very inspiring. So I just enjoy the whole thing.
True. True. Aarti, you must have seen these people, these excited people, men, women, both, through these many years running for a cause. Any unique observations about how women have led the example of such marathons all these years? Anything that you'd like to share?
You're asking me again?
Aarti.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, Ashutosh, it's really difficult for me to come up with one or two stories. The journey has been long with the program and running events. It's been almost 20 plus years. And
Wow.
there's so many stories. It's unbelievable. But I echo Prashanti's sentiment. Every time the first race moves on, I mean, the gunshot happens. We all say a little prayer wherever we are, right? Because we've done whatever we could. and now it's all in his hands. Okay, or we can say in her hands, depend on which god you actually believe in. But the point it's very emotional. Even now, it's after so many events, also becomes very emotional. And it's amazing to see when you with the topics about women initially, and then especially in cities, in Delhi where people fear. There's still a lot of fear, but it's amazing to see how in the first few years, there were less women who used to come out. Then we used to see women in wearing Punjabis, salwar
I've
kameez,
seen women in saris running on the
women
track.
in saris, they coming out.
Yeah,
And now from that they've transitioned to, feeling safe and running in whatever they wear. That
true,
fact, that acceptance, that fact that
true.
you can be free without inhibitions. Because I think sport brings that out, right? It's like it's a little when you talk about participative sport, when you talk about more running, and I'm sure Anushri and Usha will agree to me on this, that it is not about a competitive spirit with somebody else. It is you're competing with yourself. How can I do better than what I did earlier? Maybe the previous edition, or it could be some other event we did. Where can I do better? Can I better myself? What happens is when you have that attitude, obviously, you have a lot of, respect and discipline. And respect
True.
doesn't see gender. Respect is for the sportsman in you, the athlete in you. Because for us, especially those who timed races, okay, 10K and above, it's a lot of effort. I'm not talking marathons and ultra marathons because those are crazy efforts. But even at 10K, you have to spend those 2, 3 months, discipline yourself, sacrifice parties, sacrifice food, things like that, so that you're in shape and good shape and safe enough to healthy to run on that day. We call them working athletes. There are people, Anushri, who work in the NY, and she has a job, everyday job, but I'm sure alternate days she does get up early morning to do some kind of sport, either running or swimming or whatever, gymming, or it could be later on after the event. She is a working athlete, right? And working athlete doesn't define any gender. You're an athlete,
True.
you're an athlete. So it's a very different, spectrum we're dealing with. When you talk about participative sport, it's your sweat and your blood and your tears which are there involved. Again, gender doesn't define, those efforts and those sacrifices. So it's been incredible journey, and I hope it continues. And I hope more and more women do take up into running and fundraising, because it is, I don't know what it is, but it does make a difference. It's a very subliminal
Definitely,
messaging which you are kind of giving to the world, literally to the community around you, at a very
definitely, definitely.
subliminal level, and that sometimes works. It really works. Yeah.
That making a difference part is what I think inspires all of us. That's why 8Bs is on
You're
board.
not
That's
actually
why,
saying I'm making a difference, huh? Look, I'm
yeah,
right. No, you also better. No, you emulate. You have that respect in the community, and you want to emulate. It's not about you forcing. You
true,
understand what the lady is going through. You understand what the girl is going through.
true.
And it just happens. I don't know what it is. It just happens.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so wonderful to see all five of you coming from such varied backgrounds and then uniting for this cause, which is running, which is philanthropy. And my heart is full on behalf of 8Bs. We are so proud and so ecstatic to have you all associate with us and associate with each one of you in our own capacities. I hate to end this discussion. This has been going so wonderful, but we are on a crunch of time. So I'll go one by one to each of you to just know your closing remarks before we head to the month of April, which is the grand event of the TCS World 10K Bengaluru. I'm sure all of you are preparing for it in different capacities. What message do you have for all the women participants out there and for all the janta that's going to be there? More than 30,000 of people, Aarti, we're expecting this year. I
Right.
hope. Yeah. So, any closing messages for them for this lovely occasion on Women's Day? Usha, will start with you.
As I like to call TCS, this event, particular event, as Runners Festival, Festival of Running. So I have been participating since 2010. So I want all of the women runners out there to give your best and do not forget to enjoy and have fun while running. Okay, and also if you spot me out over there, just come and give me a high five.
Definitely, definitely. Deborah, you have anything to add?
To all the women participants, I just want to say that this marathon is not just about physical endurance, and it's about mental toughness and perseverance and the power to push past limits. So I think it's so much more than just running. It's a big thing actually. So all the best to all the women and do well. See you on the field.
Great. Anishri, your closing remarks, please.
I would say let's celebrate our strength and come together, support each other, and be inspiring role models. All
Definitely,
all the best to everyone.
definitely. Prashanti, you'd have anything to add? You're on mute, Prashanti. You're on mute, Prashanti, actually. Yeah.
I would say women runners, go ask for that money. There's plenty out there. Everybody should be able to give us. Run for the fun of it, run for yourself, run for somebody else. And like Geeta said, if you see each other, give a shout out and enjoy the day. April 27th is not going to be very cool, but we'll enjoy the heat too. That's it.
Yes, yes. Aarti, you'd have anything to close this discussion?
Train well, eat well, sleep well. Just have fun, be free, literally run like free bird over there. Lie through the race day and listen to your body. Very, very important. Okay, and just have fun. We want all the smiles over there. Literally, I want you to smile before, during, and after. So be happy.
Definitely. Definitely. To all the women watching this podcast, and to everybody connected with aidbees, I want to wish all of you and all the panelists as well a very, very wonderful and incredible Happy Women's Day. You lead by example, you lead by inspiration, and you lead by motivation. At 8Bs, we try to bring forth your efforts to the best capacity, to the best potential. And on 27th of April as well, as you join on the track, while fundraising or not fundraising, we hope you have a great time. We hope you have a wonderful, exemplary run and record breaking numbers. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. It has been a very learned experience for me, and I myself find myself lucky and fortunate to be sitting with all of you, to be taking so much and soaking in so much of energy, affection, and knowledge. I'd like to thank each one of you, and I hope you all had a great time at 8Bs.
Thank you,
Okay.
Ashutosh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
ladies.
we'll be closing the discussion off. Do subscribe to 8Bs to watch more videos like this, and we'll come back with another exciting podcast. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. Follow us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Ashutosh. Bye, everybody.